This is a Flying Cow production. Well, hello and welcome back to the Great Film Challenge. I, of course, am your host, Clay Johnson, the Flying Cow himself, and here with me for this podcast is my nephew, Aaron. How we doing today, Aaron?
I'm great.
Yeah, we're great. We've got some dogs that want to get out of the room, but we're doing great. So, we are, Aaron's going to let the dog out and I'm just going to vamp for a second while the dog decides whether or not they want to go out. Out, in. It is a conundrum, folks. They just cannot figure it out. Zelda, get out. Get out. Go away. All right. Yeah, they're gone. I hope you guys enjoyed that little color at the beginning of the episode. But yes, we are here talking. That's kind of apt because we're talking about a movie today that has to do with animals a little bit, not dogs.
No.
But we are today talking about Groundhog Day. That's right, woodchuck chuckers. It's Groundhog Day. Make sure to put on your what is it? I can't even remember. Yeah, I know. I'm the one that knows all this because I've seen it before, or I had seen it before. You've seen it now. But yeah, so we are talking about the 1993 film Groundhog Day, starring Bill Murray, and Annie McDowell, Chris Elliott, and many more. Stephen Tobolowsky, for one. Let's see. The film was directed by Harold Ramis. And yeah, so this film, you had not seen this before. This was a new watch for you, right? And how much did you know about the movie going in?
I just knew it was Bill Murray living the same day over and over. That was it.
All right. Which, I mean, honestly, is probably something that everybody knows about this movie. Because this device, I mean, I won't say 100% unequivocally it was the first time that this device was used.
Yeah.
Because, you say that and then you find out, no, there was actually this film that nobody knew or nobody talks about, or some foreign film, or something that just wasn't as well known. But this was definitely popularized the mechanic of living the same day over and over and over again, and kind of what you do with that. And so you knew it had Bill Murray in it. You knew that about this mechanic. So just your basic thoughts. What did you think about this film?
I think I enjoyed it,
Yeah?
in general. I do think, isn't Bill Murray self-obsessed in just about every role?
I mean, that is definitely, there are definitely films where he plays against type. Like, if you've ever seen What About Bob, he's very not that character. But yeah, he often is this kind of, wisecracking, doesn't take anything too seriously.
Yeah.
Kind of, he can be kind of a jerk, but he's often like a lovable jerk. You know what I
I
mean?
I kind of see it. It got a little bit boring, that part of
Sure.
it, after a while,
Yeah.
but outside of that, I definitely enjoyed it.
Hmm.
And outside of the whole love part too,
I was about to
again.
say I was afraid because when we finished the movie at first, you made it seem like you didn't like it because of the rom-com aspect to it.
Yeah,
Have you kind of changed your mind? Has it sat with you, or were you just thinking about the negatives and not the positives right off the bat?
probably then, because that's like how it ended.
Sure,
That's mostly what it ended with.
sure,
And but like now, I like actually looking at it,
sure.
and not like immediately after.
Right, right. I
Yeah.
will say, there are lots of different genres of films, and there might be some that maybe aren't your favorite. But if you choose your perspective, you choose how to look at it,
Mm-hmm.
there are still films within those genres that you can enjoy.
Yes.
You know, I mean, while I would say that there is definitely, without argument, a rom-com aspect to this film, I don't really think of this film as solely a rom-com.
Oh yeah, no, me either.
Because, like I said, it's, or, like everyone knows, it's Bill Murray living the same day over and over and over again. But
Yes.
as we see in the beginning of the film, he's, this kind of like stuck up, full of himself,
Uh huh.
you know, local weatherman, which I think that aspect of it is hilarious, that this guy is so high on himself,
Yeah.
but he's literally a weatherman for a local
Uh huh.
affiliate. Now, granted, it's Pittsburgh, so it's a bigger city, but at the
Yeah.
same time, I mean, if this was about like the meteorologist in Arkansas, it would be even
Yeah.
funnier. But still, it's a local weatherman who is convinced that he is better than everything and everyone around him. He's done with the shit, all this kind of stuff. He's done with doing what people have asked him to do. All of
Mm-hmm.
these things that he sees are beneath him. And then by the end of the film, as he lives the same day over and over and
Yeah.
over and over and over again, he chooses to become a better person. He chooses to use that time to learn skills, learn
Mm-hmm.
languages. Now, some of them come out of selfishly wanting to woo Andy McDowell's character and things like
Yeah.
that. And I will say, while there are aspects of that storyline that I do actually enjoy, one thing that's always struck me is, at no point before this day starts
Uh huh.
do I ever feel like he's interested in her at all. So like it him wooing her seems to come a little bit out of nowhere to me.
I can kind of see that.
And like I said, don't get me wrong, I love the film. This is honestly one of my favorite films, especially one of my favorite Bill Murray performances.
Yeah.
It's more of a, it was probably closer to a dramatic role than we'd ever seen him do before. Bill Murray, to this point, was known almost exclusively for comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And so to have this kind of, you know, and he definitely gets to do all of that kind of stuff, but to have him also get to do this kind of like soulful, like guy, introspective, guy, weighing his own life and, deciding to be a better person.
Yeah.
It's a pretty dramatic role for him at the time. But I just always like, and even if we didn't see anything before the repeat started, if we saw him like taking an interest in her as he's
Mhm.
basically spending the same day with her over and over and
Yeah.
over and over again. If we saw that before, all of a sudden he starts trying to make this perfect day with her. And it's possible that they did stuff like that and then decided for some reason that they didn't need it and cut it. I don't know, but it does feel like it comes a little bit out of nowhere. But yeah, I mean, like I said, overall, I really enjoy this film. What were some of, because you kind of had some things that you liked and some things that you didn't. Let's talk a little bit about both. So, what were some of your favorite bits of this film? Either moments or gags or something like that. What were some of your favorite bits from this film?
Um, I think one of my favorites was when he kept encountering the guy who he knew from school or something. That
Ned?
yeah, Ned.
Yeah,
That was
Ned
his name.
Ryerson. Honestly,
Yeah.
that whole thing is honestly one of my favorite parts of the whole movie as well. I just Stephen Tobolowsky, who plays Ned Ryerson, like he's one of the most famous like um supporting that guy kind of people. I will say, out of those types of guys, he's probably a name more people know, but
Yeah.
a lot of people wouldn't know his name still,
Mhm.
you know? And honestly, this movie is the reason for him kind of having that status, because just the way he plays that character is brilliant. But
Yeah.
yeah, what's some of your favorite stuff that happens there?
Uh, let me think.
I'll tell you some of mine. Honestly, some of the lines that Murray says to Ned, I have
Oh yeah.
used. Like one of my favorite things is he's like he's like so Phil, what are you doing today? And Phil just kind of looks off and he goes, something else. Like anything but this. And then my other favorite one is, oh, what is it? Um it's the first day and they're like, he's trying to get rid of him. He's like, Ned, I would love to stand here and talk with you all day,
Mhm.
but I'm not going to. It's just that great sarcastic,
Yeah.
sardonic sense of humor that Bill Murray has, and just with this kind of over the top, ridiculous character. Yeah, it's just some great stuff. The bit where uh in the montage, you can tell that
Oh
he's
yeah.
kind of just doing whatever the hell he wants. And one
Mhm.
of the days, Ned just comes up and he's like, Phil, and he goes, Ned, and punches him right in the
Yeah.
face.
That one was funny.
Yeah, just some great. I feel like the two of them probably had fun
Oh yeah.
figuring their stuff out together. But anything else that I didn't name that you enjoyed from the two of them, or
Uh,
the room is filling with smoke, folks. It is a sight to behold.
I think the montage bit overall, just seeing him do all the random stuff
Sure.
and learning all kinds of things,
Yeah.
especially like the clip with the chainsaw sculpture
Okay. Yeah.
or him speaking French. I wonder if he like actually learned a bit of French or if he just rehearsed those specific
Sure.
sentences.
Yeah. I mean,
Because I wouldn't expect him to
I
actually learn
do
it.
know that a lot of times, like I think if he had to speak more French, then he might have actually. I mean, there are some actors that they see a scene where they have to speak some French and they go and learn French. I don't
Yeah,
think Bill Murray is that type of actor. He
probably not.
probably what most actors would do in that case is they would just learn the words phonetically, which
Uh-huh.
means written how it sounds.
Yes.
And then just
say it.
act out the words that he has to say. Because I mean, the way that he does it, he says it with an expertise,
Yes.
So that's, but I mean, you can do that as an actor. But yeah, you know, um, like we said, he goes through several days. I will say there was, I think it might have been like on, Twitter or something like that, but somebody put out like an analysis of this film, and they said if you put it all together, um it's conceivable that he was in this day. I think the estimate, and there have definitely been other people that have estimated that it has been way lower, but the estimate was that he was living this same day for around 1,000 years.
Wow.
Right? I mean, I will say, I mean, you look at everything that he accomplished at the end of that day. He learned how to play the piano.
Uh-huh.
He learned how to speak a foreign language. He learned how to, ice sculpt, all of this stuff. It would definitely take a good amount of time. Not,
Mhm.
and then you throw in, the amount of time that he probably put in, because we see when he, um, tries to put together the perfect day with Andy McDowell's character,
Yes.
that there's a lot of stop and starts
Oh
kind of
yeah.
thing. And so there's several of those. There's several, we don't even see all of the ones where he tries to kill himself, there. So now it's possible that some of these days weren't full days, like I said, because of suicide attempts or suicide,
Yeah.
successful suicides actually, and things like that. But it boggles the mind how long that must have taken. But at the same time, it's like, I would like to think that if I had one day to live over and over and over and over again, that I would also take the time to learn new skills and things like that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's definitely what I would want to do.
Me too. Me too.
But at the same time, I also understand, depression setting in and
Yeah.
things like that. But yeah, I mean, was there anything else about this film that you wanted to um talk about or make sure that we mentioned?
Uh, not that I can think of.
Okay. The last thing that I will say, um so uh the guy that plays the mayor, I believe it's the mayor, that holds up, or does he hold him up? But he does the talking for Punxsutawney Phil.
Yes.
That guy, Brian Doyle Murray, I believe that's Bill Murray's brother. Yes, he is. He's Bill Murray's older brother. Um, and honestly, you'll actually see him in a lot of Bill Murray films, but he's also done things outside of Bill Murray films. Um, he's not like, well, actually, no, that's that's overgeneralizing. I was about to say it's not like Clint Howard, who works almost exclusively in Ron Howard films, but that's overgeneralizing. Clint
Yeah.
Howard has done things outside of Ron Howard films, but I honestly, Brian Doyle Murray is another one of those kind of that guys that actually is pretty good in a lot of stuff. So I thought that would be a fun little thing to throw out. But if there was nothing else that you wanted to talk about, let us go ahead and what do you say we? Well, I never asked you what your least favorite things in the film, but I'm just gonna assume that it was the
Yeah.
most of the stuff having to do with the love story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there anything about that story, that part of the movie that you did enjoy? Anything that you thought was done well or was smart or anything like that?
Uh, he was really devoted.
Okay.
Uh, it
Sure.
I mean, I'm not gonna say that like, oh, that was my favorite thing.
No,
But
no.
like,
But
it's kind of hard to pick a favorite from something I don't really care for.
But I mean, that's specifically what I'm asking you to do. Is it find something that you did like in something that wasn't your favorite?
No.
No, okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. All right. Well, then, want to go ahead and let people know how they can get into contact with us. You can, of course, contact us at the Flying Cow Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky. You can also email at theflyingcow@gmail.com. Make sure to check out that and I've got another podcast on there where myself and my friend Jack, it's called it's called Must Watch Movies, where we basically challenge each other to watch different movies. Some of them are really good, some of them aren't. It's interesting, but want to go ahead and get now, Aaron, to the end where we decide the next film. So we just watched a film that you haven't seen. And in the past, we've gone back and forth, but like we've discussed, there's a lot more on the wheel that you haven't seen
Oh yeah.
than the one that you have. So really, you can pick which wheel would you like to spin from, the one that you haven't seen or the one you have seen.
I'm gonna do unseen.
Unseen. All right, we're gonna go for another unseen. So Aaron, you ready to spin that wheel?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Okay. Hold on, it's being slow. Okay, there we go. Amelie.
Amelie. All right. All right. Amelie. All right. Well, looking forward to that. That is actually one of the ones that I have not seen.
Mm-hmm.
So we will just see how that goes. So tune in next time, guys, for to hear us talk about Amelie. But until that time, moo.